morning, and thank you for joining us here on After GMS, something we do on the News 2 Facebook page Monday through Friday at 7:45. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
Good.
It is a good day to be hot. Yeah, if you haven't gotten dressed yet for the day, you're going to want to wear something cool because 90s, I mean, it is only June 1st.
I know.
It is still technically spring by meteorological standards. The summer solstice is still a few weeks away, but it could be our hottest day of the year so far.
Could be, if you want to get technical about it.
Ooh,
technically.
Not more technical.
Technically.
Okay.
Meteorological summer starts today.
Oh, it does.
Astronomical summer doesn't start until that's the one you're thinking about 20 days away. It gets confusing. All right, take a live look across the Piedmont right now. It even looks hot if you look outside right now. Temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s across the board right now with sunshine for everybody. On our way to the low 90s this afternoon and plenty of humidity coupled along with that too. Tonight we'll fall back into the upper 60s to around 70, but it'll be a muggy upper 60s and 70 as well. Dew points in the low 60s right now. Hoppers have a game at noon today downtown Greensboro at First National Bank Field. It'll be toasty for that, 87 for that first pitch at high noon today. Now, of course, it is the official start of hurricane season as well. And we already have something to keep an eye on in the tropics. And we'll keep an eye on that for you, and we'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, high pressure in control of our weather. That's the big dominating weather feature on the map, but a cold front on the way for your Thursday. That'll bring us some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Don't expect them to be widespread, but it is something we'll keep an eye on. Of course, as we go into your Thursday afternoon, there's a low chance a couple of those storms could get a little on the strong or severe side, but I don't expect there to be widespread storms or widespread severe weather. There's your 7-day forecast. 90s today and tomorrow. Behind that cold front, we are cooler. We are less humid too. Take a look at Friday, much cooler in the low 80s, and then Saturday and Sunday are just absolutely gorgeous with temperatures in the low 80s. Those humidity values, the dew points in the upper 40s and 50s. So it's going to be super comfortable to be outside over the weekend. We'll start to warm it back up though, heading into the middle of next week.
Well, as Christian so eloquently mentioned, today is the first year of the first day of this year's Atlantic hurricane season. It is expected to be pretty busy.
Yes, it is.
Above average. The Eastern Pacific season actually started back in mid-May. One storm already formed there. What was Hurricane Agatha? Strong winds and storm surge killed at least 10 people. It hit as a Category 2 in Oaxaca, Mexico, and is the strongest hurricane in the East Pacific before June, with 154 mile-per-hour winds.
All right, so now that we have the outlook about everything, is there anything that we should be concerned about? I mean, because even if Agatha turns into Alex and heads towards the Atlantic coast, I mean, North Carolina is still pretty much in the clear.
Yeah, North Carolina is pretty much in the clear on that. In fact, if we can pull up my graphics real quick, I want to show you where that is. And it's pretty interesting. You know, you look at this map and you're like, what am I looking at? It just looks like some blobs. But the area that the National Hurricane Center is kind of zooming in on is this area just off the Yucatan Peninsula. And it's got a little bit of a swirl to it. And those are the remnants of what was Agatha. Now, it does have a pretty good chance of development over the next 5 days as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to encounter some really warm water there. It's going to encounter some weak winds. All of that is fuel to see this strengthen up a bit. And it's not concerning for the Carolinas, but it will bring some rain to the Florida coast and along the Keys. If it does strengthen up to a tropical storm again, it'll become Alex. Now, it's a little bit of a quirk here to this because it was Agatha. Now, how does it become Alex if it's the same circulation? When you move ocean basins from the Pacific to the Atlantic, there are a couple rules here. One, if the surface circulation, so that area of low pressure at the surface, survives even just a little bit and then re-strengthens again, it will keep the name Agatha. What's likely to happen here is that surface circulation, that area of low pressure at the surface, to completely dissipate out and weaken down. And then if it reforms and re-strengthens while it's in the Gulf, well, it's now in a new ocean basin. It's in the Atlantic Ocean basin. So then a new name would be given to that, and we'd start to use that Atlantic hurricane season list. So that would be Alex, and then Bonnie, and then Colin, and then Danielle after that. So it could be our first named system of the year in the Atlantic. Likely becomes a tropical depression by the weekend, so we'll just keep an eye on it, but not a concern for us in the Carolinas.
All right, that's good. That said, we can have pretty active hurricane season. I know you're forecasting a little bit above average with these latest projections. June typically is quiet for us though, right? I mean, we really get picking up on this tropical activity in September, October.
Yeah, September 14th, if you want a date, is usually like average peak of hurricane season. You know, the past 6 or 7 years, we've had at least one named storm in the Atlantic somewhere. So, you know, there's a lot of talk in the meteorology community about maybe shifting hurricane season, because really what is it? Well, it's just kind of arbitrary, right? It's just what we go by on the calendar. But the past few years have all had early season activity. And as you know, last year was a busy hurricane season, but North Carolina didn't get, you know, a direct hit from anything.
Right.
So it only, I mean, really, you know, it only takes one. Depending on, you know, only takes one if you're in the Gulf, only takes one if you're in the Carolinas, just depending on how bad it is. So it is expected to be an active hurricane season. It's one of those things I can't tell you whether or not, yes, it's going to be an active season, but no storms are going to come towards the Carolinas. It's, again, one of those things we just have to watch them form and then watch where they go. And that's the other thing about hurricane season versus having, you know, a cold front or a storm day. You know, you track a severe weather threat for 24 to 48 hours and you see one storm pop up and it moves away. Then we track these hurricanes for 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of time to see them form, and most of them start out off the coast of Africa as just a little wave, as just a little cloud or little thunderstorm,
Yeah.
and then they get stronger. So there's a lot of time to track these things. So
Yeah.
just want to
That's
see.
when you use your little spaghetti models.
That's
and
when we use
whatnot.
our models. But yeah, June and July are typically pretty quiet. Usually there's one or two maybe to track.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can go these months and not have anything at all. And then you really start to see things start to get busy. We say the gates kind of open as you go into September and October.
Something that Florida does, because they are always getting hit, it seems like. They have a number of named storm systems that make landfall.
Oh, yeah.
In Florida. So they have a tax holiday where they can get all of the, you know, items that they would need to be prepared for a storm without sales tax.
I think they just had it
Last weekend,
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Which, I mean, that would be something to consider, I think, for North Carolina, because, I mean, we don't necessarily get hit all the time.
Right.
But when they hit, they hit hard.
They hit.
So,
You know, especially our
something to
Outer Banks
consider.
that jut out off the coast.
Definitely the
Yeah.
Outer Banks.
Actually, that's a good point. I remember seeing some pictures from a couple of our former colleagues who now work at the Tampa station. They were getting all of their hurricane stuff ready last weekend. And that made me think, wow, that's going to cost a lot more this year, because think about the boards that you're buying to
Absolutely.
potentially have to board up your windows. I mean, lumber prices are up, gas for those generators, everything is more expensive just to protect yourself against Mother Nature, which doesn't care
Right.
the cost of anything.
Yeah, so you know, it's one of those times, especially in the Carolinas. It's not busy right now, but it's a good idea, and we tell you the same thing when we start to get into spring. It's a good idea to review that hurricane plan, you know, for your family. Make sure you have some supplies, especially if you live in, you know, further east in eastern North Carolina. But
Yeah.
you know, a lot of times for us around here, it's not the hurricanes that make direct impact on the coast. It's the remnants that track up, you know, from the Gulf and bring all the rain to us. You know, a couple of years ago, our mountains and foothills have been flooded notoriously with the remnants of tropical systems that move that way.
Right, and then you see the roads start to collapse,
Yeah.
and there were some mudslides
Oh, yeah.
that we had to deal with. Yeah, the impacts can be statewide.
Absolutely.
All right, so something to consider as you're thinking about hurricane season, getting even just a plan together. Maybe you don't get the supplies right
Right.
now, but you get your plan together. This is where we would go. Do we need this for insurance? You know, kind of mapping out things. That way you're not having to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And especially
in
if,
the event.
you know, I know we have some folks that have places at the beach. You know, at the beaches, it's a good idea to review all your insurance stuff there and on all those plans too.
Yeah. So Jessica brought up a point. She said she'd much rather deal with hurricane weather than the snowstorms she had in Nebraska. Do you feel it's more difficult to forecast hurricanes than, say, snow? Because both events, you can pretty much get an idea that they
Yeah.
could happen a couple weeks out, but then you don't fine tune them until maybe, what, 5 days prior?
Yeah, it depends on where you are.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's so difficult here to forecast winter weather, and it's starting to get that way for severe weather too. You know, where we live, especially all the ingredients, whether it be snow, winter weather, whether it be severe weather, everything really has to match up well. So snow is really difficult to predict. I will say, you know, especially in the last 10 years, and even more so the last 5 or 6 years, the technology that we have and the way that we're able to, you know, forecast weather and forecast tropical systems has really become advanced. And if you think back to 2020, you know, there weren't as many flights going on. And actually, we lost a lot of forecast data because there weren't as many flights going on because of the pandemic. There weren't as many planes in the sky, as many people going anywhere. And so a lot of the information that we get and data that we get, real-time data, we weren't getting as much of that. So I actually think forecasting took a little bit of a hit in 2020 because of the pandemic. Because especially when these storms are way, way out to sea, we don't have radar data out in the middle of the ocean. We just rely on satellites and we rely on planes to get all that information, and balloons and buoys out in the ocean. And so all of that has been advanced over the last several years. And so, with time, technology just gets better and better, and we're able to assess different parts of a system and different parts of a storm, that we weren't able to. 10 years ago, we weren't able to look at a severe storm and say it's producing debris or it's producing a tornado. We have all that capability now. So that just kind of goes outside to everything into the tropics. So the way that we're able to track, and you notice over time, we call it the cone of uncertainty. You always see that when you see a hurricane forecast. Those cones used to be really, really wide, and they've been able to trim those down thinner and thinner just because of all the advances in technology.
And Sean noted that they are called cyclones in Australia. They actually spin the opposite direction in the southern hemisphere too. What is it? Is it counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, clockwise in the southern hemisphere? Tornadoes too, right?
Yeah,
the Coriolis
same thing.
effect.
Yep, and high pressure spins counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere and opposite here.
Interesting.
So.
Okay, so now that you had everything that you could possibly want to know about the 2022 hurricane season, thank you very much. I always feel smarter when I talk to you. I hope you guys too, because you're just a book of knowledge.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to continue our conversations with one after our headlines.
All right, let's get to those. We do have a lot to cover here. COVID cases are up in several Triad counties. Surrey, Yadkin, Alamance, Davie, Stokes, and Forsyth counties, all in the yellow on this map, are now ranked in the medium risk level. The CDC ranks counties low, medium, or high, depending on the COVID cases and hospitalizations in those counties. The CDC recommends if you are in the counties with medium risk and you have a health condition that puts you at risk of serious illness if you were to develop COVID, talk to your healthcare provider. It might be time to mask more often and start taking other precautions again.
Guilford County Schools.
Guilford County Schools is closer to starting upgrades with the money approved by voters. The board gave the green light for 36 new school projects at last night's meeting, totaling $228 million. It's the first round of projects after voters approved $1.5 billion in bonds 2 weeks ago. Schools set up for upgrades include Page High School, Grimsley High, and Smith High School. You can find the full list on our website.
Well, investing in young people makes a huge difference on their well-being, and that rings true for a group of middle school girls who are seeing positive results from a program created to help steer them in the right direction and boost their academic success. WFMY News 2's Denise McMiller shows how this program called Guilford Girls is making all the difference.
Well, sometimes something as simple as having a positive outlet can change the way a child shows up in the classroom. And here at Guilford Preparatory Academy, they have created a space where the girls here can express their frustrations and channel their fears in a more positive way. They're doing it through a program called Guilford Girls. It's run by kindergarten teacher Brooke Johnson and Officer Aslan. The charter school has no SRO, so Aslan volunteers off duty. They have taken the girls on field trips and put on a school dance. They also meet with the ladies one-on-one and in group settings weekly.
That's helped a lot navigate through, social media, through just silly arguments, but also the painful stuff in their life that they might not feel comfortable talking to anyone else. So we, provide, as an officer, I provide myself as a resource.
The girls, their grades have came up, less fights, less getting suspended, and it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay. We let them know too. Mistakes is fine, just learn from them.
The program has went from just 5 middle school girls to more than 40 in just 6 months. Tahara Hargrove is one of the Guilford girls. She says she is grateful for both Officer Aslan and Brooke.
I had somebody to talk to if there was anything wrong during school, or if there was anything like people that were bothering me, I would be able to talk to them about it. Anything, they're really fun to hang out with. They joke around with us. They're not really strict. And some things they are strict about, getting into fights or bad grades. But other than that, it's been really fun.
Both Brooke and Officer Aslan says that they will continue to nurture the relationships that they've built with these ladies over the summer, and they will expand and kick off the program next school year with a back-to-school drive.
All right, with temperatures in the 90s, of course, it is appropriate to start talking about your summer plans.
So we're asking you here on our feed, drop a comment. What are you looking forward to this summer? Several of you already have weighed in. Rhonda said she's heading to the beach next weekend with her daughter, and she's going to the annual Carolina Country Music Festival. That sounds fun. This viewer said looking forward to a trip to New York and watching a Yankees baseball game at Yankee Stadium for the first time and spending time with family. She says go Yankees.
Mark said everything. I love summer. That from Mark Young, one of our faithful viewers here on News 2. And another viewer said he's looking forward to taking his shirt off and showing off his weight loss and muscle gain. He said old man style.
Good for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are keeping our clothes on here all the time because that is appropriate.
Who would have thought you had to give that disclaimer?
Well,
I
was still on it because I'm like, Okay, so
Anyway.
What are you guys looking forward to this summer? I start classes next week. I'm super excited about that. Yes, the evolution of Tracy as a Christian.
Your new memoir.
Made fun of me earlier for saying. But yeah, I mean, it's the next kind of step in this process of just kind of pursuing my passions. You know, you guys know I'm passionate about my kids, and I love spending time with my kids. And you know, I'm also passionate about exercise and helping people. So this will be a great combination. And if one day one allows me to spend more time with the other, that would be great.
There you go.
I texted Tracy the other day asking for some simple workouts, trying to get back into shape after the second baby, and you gave me a lot of great exercises to try, and I thought, oh gosh,
how's that going?
I'm going to be charged for this soon. Once you get your certification.
Get it while it's free.
I know. Yeah, it's going fine.
Good.
Yeah,
You look great.
Thank you. I'm trying, but
No, you do.
yeah, your workouts are awesome.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Well, I have
already
another
tried
one
and
for
true.
you. Yeah. Oh man, I've got one. Oh, you guys will love this one.
That means that we're not going to like it.
Oh, great.
Actually.
I'm going to be hurting after that, I feel like.
Well, you're already hurting. You
I'm
said.
already hurting.
Yeah. So tell us about your day yesterday, and then let's talk about the summer.
Oh, yeah. So, first time in a long time, but I wakeboarded for a solid hour on Monday, on Memorial Day, with my buddy at the lake.
Yeah.
And now I feel every minute of it in my lower back and in the back of my legs.
Right.
So much so, I was telling you yesterday, it was one of those days like if you ride in the car for 30 minutes
Right.
and you try to get out and you're like, oh,
Right.
wait a minute, I need a minute.
Good thing you were off yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I was resting up yesterday. That's what I was doing. But, you know, looking forward to that, you know, going to the lake with buddies and doing that. And, of course, our band gets busy in the summer with summer concerts and festivals and that kind of thing. We have some of those coming up. And looking forward to doing that and spending some time with family, beach, and mountain trips. So
It's exciting.
Nothing like aches and pains after wakeboarding or doing anything to make you realize
you know, when I was 18,
we're not young anymore. Yeah.
When I was 18, that wasn't a problem.
Right. It doesn't start until you're like 30.
Now I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Right on target.
Right on time.
All right, I'm looking forward to spending time with my kids. You know, I mentioned this earlier. My son is a super fun age, almost 2.5. He loves the water. Is a pretty good swimmer. We started swim lessons pretty early. Still working on floating, which is, you know, that necessary survival skill. So we got to get to that point. But just looking forward to some fun memories with him this summer. And now that my daughter's here too, you know, she just likes to observe everything. She's super easy, just goes with the flow. So that's great. Exactly.
That's awesome.
She just soaks it all up.
Yes, yes. So just fun family memories this summer. I'm excited. Summer's my favorite season, minus the mosquitoes. But just something about the warm weather and the family time and just the excitement of the season. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a great season. It's also my birthday season,
It is.
summertime. So we're not quite there yet, but Ed Matthews, I asked him the other day, I'm like, what are you looking forward to in June? He's like, my birthday, it's my birthday. I was like, okay, we got it.
See, some of us January babies will never know what it's like to have a pool party for your birthday.
Oh, yeah, my
Have
kids
plenty of
go
snow
through
parties.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of my children are winter babies, so I hear
Mine
you.
too.
Planning a party is pretty hard, so I feel your pain on the other end of things.
Can't have it all, can you?
No, you can't.
All right, so Joanna said tomorrow her kindergarten daughter has graduation, so that's exciting. Let's see. We have Jessica, who said staying on the lake, my anniversary camping trip we do every year, and zoo trips and all the fun things with my kids. That's so awesome.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. We also had somebody was asking about storms, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Joanne said, this summer I'm looking forward to the warm weather, sunshine, and visiting with out-of-town family, and hopefully a trip home to Kentucky.
It'll be fun.
Dana said, I'm looking forward to non-work travel this summer. I hope that happens because Dana's like literally on a plane every week, and I was just, that is a life, I'm telling you. Shakina said, told me to give it to you guys Lynch Hunt style. So, you know,
Your trainer, who's
yeah.
really hardcore, that's too intense for me.
Yeah.
I can't do that kind of workout.
I've become that. Well, you guys saw my Instagram, right? When we're doing like the obstacle
Yes.
courses.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like, we like, the whole family is like active in
Yeah.
exercise.
Your 1-year-old son jumped over that little wall better than I could.
He just crawled over it. That was the best. That's so funny. So yeah, let us know what you guys are looking forward to this summer. I mean, it's a long season. Granted, summer is still 20 days away, but with temperatures that feel like, you know, so hot as they are now.
Yeah.
It feels like we're already started.
It feels like every inch is summertime, doesn't it? Heat and humidity in full force today. On our way to the low 90s.
Wait, I have your line. The air you can wear.
The air you can wear, and it's a thick coat today.
I love it.
A thick winter coat. Dew points in the mid 60s this afternoon. Temperatures in the 90s. It'll be a bit sweaty this afternoon, but we're going to stay dry. Anything you're doing outside today, I will caution you, wear the sunscreen and reapply. That UV index is really high today, so it's super easy to get burned on a day like today. Heading into your Thursday, hot and muggy again, except we have a better chance for scattered thunderstorms for your Thursday afternoon. Don't expect them to be widespread, just a few hit or miss, and some of those hit or miss storms may be a little on the strong or severe side with a damaging wind gust or maybe some hail, but overall I expect that risk to stay very low for your Thursday. Behind that cold front, nice weather returns heading into the weekend. We are dry, we are cooler with highs in the low 80s, and humidity will not be a problem. So really comfortable to be outside this weekend. We'll start to warm it back up, and the humidity starts to make a little bit of a comeback by the middle of next week.
All right, not that we want it to come back, but hey, hi.
Stay on.
It's like summer, so you know.
Stay on vacation for as long as it wants, bye-bye.
All right, thank you guys so much for joining us on After GMS. We will see you back here tomorrow for more great conversations, more good fun with all of you, our friends.
All right.
Get out there and get to it. Let's make it a great day.
See ya.